Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Reynolds from Sports and about to be joined by Ken Weeb from the Winnipeg Free Press. Together we are Kenny and Renny. This is the Kenny and Renny post-game show after a Winnipeg Jets victory in the shootout against the Calgary Flames. And you know what? You want to talk some hockey? Just imagine you're walking down the road on the sidewalk, just thinking hockey, enjoying your day, and I pull up beside you and the door pops open. I say, hey, hop in. Let's go talk some hockey, right? And it's not a creepy thing. It's not like I'm driving a black van with tinted windows. I'm pulling up in my 2027 Toyota, ready to go in my brand new RAV4. Smells like that good new car smell, the leather. Hop in. Let's go for a ride. Let me take you on the Jim Pattison Toyota on Regent opening drive, and we'll get going and talking about this. And I will say this. Well, I'll get to that in just a second. I want to talk quickly about this one. I love this one because Stephen Braun knows exactly how to try and get Rennie's goat. He says, statement game. We all remember the statement game controversy and how I'm not really a big believer in these statement games. I mean, again, to kind of back up my point, how often are you sitting at home and there's like a big victory by the Nashville Predators or the Anaheim Ducks, and you're sitting at home and you're like, oh, statement game by the Ducks on this night? No one's ever saying that. Everyone only says that about their own team. So Rennie isn't a big believer in statement games. But at the same time, I believe there's games where you can say almost nothing. If you catch my drift, I kind of think this night is one of those nights. I mean, I was just talking with one of our K&R faithful by text, Marshall Patterson, great guy. If you've had the chance to meet him, a lot of you have, because he comes and he takes part in these events, in the Winnipeg Sports Talk events, things like that. Talking with him about this game, and he said, like a lot of you are saying, happy with the win. They come out, wasn't the prettiest, but they come out on top, all that kind of stuff. And the way I see it, especially in a shootout victory, which is a completely artificial ending to a hockey game, as is 3-on-3 hockey for the most part. If the Winnipeg Jets would have lost this game, what would everybody be saying? What would you say after the Winnipeg Jets, on the tail end of losing 4 or 5 games on the road, on a West Coast road trip, come in against the last place team in the league and would have lost that game? What would people have been saying? And I contend you saying, well, they got the win and this and that, blah, blah, and you saying, oh, well, they lost against the last place team in the league, when it hangs on an artificial ending to a hockey game, is ridiculous to say. You should be able to take what has happened in the game to that point and make a determination on what happened with the Winnipeg Jets in this game. You should know whether the Winnipeg Jets ended up winning this game in the shootout or losing it in the shootout, whether there's reason to be hopeful, or whether the Winnipeg Jets said anything in this game. And I don't think there was a lot said in this game by the Winnipeg Jets. What are you looking for them to say? I think you're looking for them to come out and say, okay, we've righted the ship, if that's something that they haven't done, right? If we're following the premise that the Winnipeg Jets are a team capable of oh so much, and they haven't been getting to that lately. Well, here's what we're going to do. We know we haven't had our best. We know we kind of fell flat on our face on this road trip. We're going to pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off and head home. We know in the last game we blew 3 leads and ended up losing that game. And we did that all over again on this night. What was not said in this game by the Winnipeg Jets was, we got this. We hear all the things that are being said about us right now, that, we're a slower version of our team, that we haven't been able to get to our system, that we're beating the good teams, beating the bad teams, not being able to beat the good teams. None of that was said in this game here tonight. What was said, if I'm watching this, is we're right here with the Calgary Flames. We are right here. Because this didn't look like a game to me where the Winnipeg Jets got bad breaks. I know a lot of you were trying to blame it on the officiating in the last game. I don't think you can blame things on the officiating that this game went the way it went. This just looked like the Calgary Flames and the Winnipeg Jets squaring off in an even strength match, where they were kind of toe for toe, punch for punch the entire way through the game. and then it ends up being solved in the shootout. Nothing that, and I guess I would end it, because I see Ken's in the green room and he's ready to go. I would end it like this. Years ago, when we started this podcast, I had this idea for this podcast and I pitched it to Ken. And the grand design of what this show is supposed to be about, a lot of you will say, it's about talking hockey, it's about talking Winnipeg Jets, it's about Ken and I, sharing our analysis and maybe a little bit of, push and pull here, there. It's about connecting with the audience. But in the end, the whole thing was just a grand evil design by Renny to be able to say, I told you so, as loud as I could and as often as I could, over and over again. It's just one big Renny patting himself on the back fest. It's been like that for years. It's going to stay like that forever, because I just keep having reason to do so. Go back a couple games, all the people who were looking at the Vancouver Canucks game and saying, oh man, the Winnipeg Jets turned it around, and this is them, and this is what they look like, and this is a perfect example of them turning things around. They're not riding a roller coaster, ladies and gentlemen. They are plowing along, and this is what they look like. And the Seattle Kraken are up here, and the Vancouver Canucks are down there, and the Anaheim Ducks are up here, and the Calgary Flames, the last place team in the league, are down there. And the Winnipeg Jets are just slowly going along, falling to the teams that are above the playoff line, and beating the teams that are below the playoff line. Their game's not changing. And that's why, for me, there's no statement to this game. And I know that was a joke by Stephen Braun to say that. In fact, I know he's very much has his tongue planted in his cheek when he said that. But sometimes people are looking for reasons why. Why did they win that game against the Vancouver Canucks? Well, it was because they did this better and they did that better and this better. They're not playing the same team over and over again. Things change. Degree of difficulty goes up and down. Tonight, you can say what you want, and I thought, I said it on the check-in with Jamie Thomas and Sarah Orlesky before this game today. I thought this would be a tough game for the Jets because the Calgary Flames grind. And that's the same style that the Winnipeg Jets play. It's a grind. I thought that the Jets would eventually win the game on mistakes. They got it to overtime, capitalizing on some mistakes. They didn't end up winning it on mistakes. They won it because Connor Hellebuyck absolutely backstopped them in this game here. But I contend, and I've been saying it for some time, what you're trying to see about the Winnipeg Jets and say, well, this is different and that's different and this is up and this is down. It's not. It's the same thing. They're playing the same movie over and over and over again. It's just the degree of difficulty is going up. The degree of difficulty is going down. And when it's up, that doesn't turn out good for the Jets. And when it's down, they slip over the bar, just like they did tonight, just like they did against the Vancouver Canucks the other night, just like they haven't been able to do against the other teams for the most part, especially in the Western Conference, that are above that playoff line. That's my take on the whole thing. And that is your opening drive, your Jim Pattison Toyota on Regent opening drive. Ladies and gentlemen, you can hop out of the car now. I'm going to miss you when you do. But while I send you out there, I need you to know that this November, it's time to Toyota, Jim Pattison Toyota on Regent. Finance the 2025 Tacoma truck from 5.69% with up to a 1% loyalty rate reduction and $1,750 accessory credit. But hurry. The offer ends December 1st. We're pretty much halfway through the month now. Visit Jim Pattison Toyota on Regent and take your test drive today, folks. All right, time to bring in the man with the best music in the business. So I'm thinking we'll have a little bit more of a rosy take on this whole thing for all you people who are looking for sunshine and the rainbows. Here comes Kenny, folks. Ken, I just barely got through the opening of that, opening drive without dislocating my shoulder, patting
I
myself
caught
on
that
the
part. I caught that.
Yeah. It's
I got a Barry Horowitz forever in the chat room. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Hey, I know. Hey, the Barry. Hey, he's. I'm catching up, but he was the best of all time at patting himself on the back. You look like the best of all time right now. The way you're putting those suits together, it's a bold take to go as dark as you're going like that, but you pull it off, Ken. It's that look. It's the hitman look. You don't mess with a guy like this. You don't give him sass. You don't question his analysis. You just fall in line because he looks like $1 million. And if you want to have the kind of sharp looks that make people just simply fall in line, you know what to do. Head on down to Vittorio Rossi on Corden Avenue. Walk in, loudly proclaim that Kenny and Renny sent you. Ask for Frankie and the boys, and they will do you up right. Ken, you were in the building. Close game. What did you take away from it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jets were kind of in some ways in survival mode, get themselves home at the end of this long trip. I think there were some signs of improvement, but yeah, for folks thinking the Jets have turned the corner and it's unicorns and rainbows from here, I don't think that they're at that point yet. There's no doubt about that. I do see some incremental growth. Obviously, again, it's a shootout, so we know it's a penalty shot contest. And yes, we know the Jets gave up a goal with 113 or 114 to go to Matt Coronado, which, yeah, I mean, it's 2 games in a row. They couldn't hold the lead, but this time they found a way to get the bonus point. So I think the Jets at 2-4 know that this was a disappointing road trip for them, and they have a lot of work to do. I think there were some gains in the structural element in terms of what they gave up. Yes, Connor Hellebuyck was the busier goaltender, and I think he won the Sean Reynolds Award. I don't want to speak for you, but he was definitely the busier goalie. But the good folks at Natural Statrics say at 5-on-5, the Jets won the high danger chances battle 10-9. But in the other statistical category here, expected goals for 2.77 for the Jets, 1.8 for the Flames. So again, this is not this is not a statement game. It is a show of resiliency. Yes, it is also a reminder that there's ample work to be done. I think that there are certain players are starting to hit their stride. I think I look at a guy like Cole Perfetti, and I spoke with him after the last game, and he definitely was frustrated. But when you go to the net, sometimes you get a tap in. Sometimes you miss a high danger chance, and maybe you look for a perfect play instead of shooting. Some days you go to the crease and the puck lands on your stick and you bang it in the back of the net. So I see strides coming for him, but he still has work to do to get to his top level. He knows it. You know it. I know it. Scott Arniel knows it. Adam Lowry, I see more progress there from him. Physical force again in this game. Hellebuyck's been busy lately. He started 5 of 6 on the trip. And Sean, I do think that, given the circumstances, I do think this was a game that the Jets maybe originally had earmarked for Eric Comrie. But after going 1-4, I think they wanted to go with their starter in a game against the 32nd overall team. And as you said, they had to inch it out and had to get to a penalty shot contest to do it. But at the end of the day, they were able to get the bonus point. I do think we'll see Eric Comrie against the Columbus Blue Jackets and getting a deserving start again. It wasn't nowhere close to a perfect game for the Jets. Sandberg, I think, took another step forward in his game. Sean, fourth line did give up a goal, but that bounces off of a skate of Logan Stanley. I think overall they did their job. Tanner Pearson snapped a 13-game pointless drought. Fourth line gets a goal. Crazy bounces. There's a Plinko special. Weird game. 3 goals in 66 seconds. But overall, again, it was not a Picasso. It's not the Jets aren't going to the film and saying, here's our template. Let's play to this level. But overall, I do think that it's a resilient win at the end of a long trip. But the Jets are going home. They won't have a ton of rest before. They got 2 days to get ready for Columbus. So, they got through and survived the longest trip of the year. They didn't, have any, massive reverberations. It wasn't a trip where they established themselves as the cream of the crop in the Central. They established themselves as a team that's very much in the mix, but has a lot of company and a lot of room for growth. and they're going to have to crank their game up a considerable level because, as you mentioned, the degree of difficulty is getting better, including Tuesday, Sean. Columbus Blue Jackets are below the line. They got 20 points. Jets have 20. They have 22. So, this isn't a matter of the Jets are playing a bunch of teams that, below the line or missed or whatever the case may be. So if they want to change the narrative that you were discussing, they're going to have to start beating those teams. That's the way the narrative gets changed. They're going to play a very good Carolina Hurricanes team coming in on Friday. The Minnesota Wild are going to be in desperation station. They've had a terrible start. But at the same time, they're battling and they don't want to fall behind. So
yeah, they're a game ahead of and 2 points behind the Jets. It's actually not that much of a spread. I took a look at it.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said terrible. Terrible was the wrong word, but
I mean, terrible.
They had a disappointing start for them, but they've been playing better lately. They got Zuccarello back-to-back
shutouts,
and like you said, so they're starting to. Whereas the Jets took losing 4 of 5, they left the door open for teams to get within range. And now they've got a bunch of teams within range. And if they want to start trying to get a little separation, they're going to have to start beating those teams that are either chasing them or are ahead of them.
Well, here's the deal. It's like you'd said that the start of this season has been conducive to a good start for the Winnipeg Jets, right? Just like last year, and we talked about it last year. And yes, there's things that you have to do to start a season well. But last year, when the Jets started 15-1,
right?
If I remember correctly, it was either 16 or 17 of their first 20 games were against teams that were below the playoff line the previous year. So it was a make hay segment of the schedule. Now it takes something in the NHL. Like I don't want to take anything away from the idea that yes, the Calgary Flames are the last place team in the league, and yes, the Winnipeg Jets already have 3 wins against them so far this season. But I mean, who I think went rolling in there just the other night, I think it was the San Jose. You beat 2-0. San Jose's, pushing and trying to be an up and coming team here, and Calgary wins that game. So we know that any team can beat any team on any night in the NHL. For me, the concerning part comes in when you start to take the overall numbers, and the overall numbers tell us that the Winnipeg Jets, just like I'd said, what is it? It is it's now 7-2 against teams below the playoff line in the West, and 5-1. 1-5, 1 win and 5 losses against teams above that. That's about to change. So here's the deal. It could be one of two things. Either the bottom could just be about to fall out on the Winnipeg Jets as the degree of difficulty gets harder and the soft part of the schedule turns into the harder part of the schedule here for the Winnipeg Jets, and there could be trouble. And the fact that they were out of the playoffs before this game started, games in hand and all that kind of stuff, and jump all the way up into third with this victory here tonight, tells us that where they've left themselves is that even if they do better against upper echelon teams, but still kind of don't do, don't take advantage of it the way they've clearly taken advantage of the teams below the playoff line, they're not that far away from dropping below it, right? So the beauty of this for the Winnipeg Jets is they are about to be given a glorious opportunity to prove the folks like Renny wrong, who are pointing out that what they're doing right now is based largely on their success is largely on beating teams that are beatable and not beating teams that are hard to beat. So they're about to have that opportunity to do that. That's a good thing for the Winnipeg Jets. They get an opportunity to prove things wrong, or it could turn in the other direction. We never know. I want to talk about Connor Hellebuyck first. I want to start the game with, I think, the most important player for the Winnipeg Jets. And throughout that game, one of the things that I wanted to touch on, because me going over and talking about, big and boring and style and all those kind of things, he's a little like Josh Morrissey in that it's hard to talk about Connor Hellebuyck because what more can you say about Connor Hellebuyck? But one thing I'll say that I don't think we've talked about on this show that often is how good he is when a puck gets behind him in scramble time, right? So there's an opportunity in that game. The puck is redirected. It goes
Rory Kearns.
And he turns around. The puck gets behind him. Now, you can see there's a couple times in this game, if you go back and you look at it, and one of them is on like the last goal, the one that scored to put this by Gabe Vilardi out of the way. Dustin Wolf is getting the puck is getting behind him, and he's just Do I have it? Do I not have it? He's not looking behind him. Connor Hellebuyck's got this great sense of knowing if the puck has got behind him and not giving up on it, turning around and basically saying, okay, it's off the post. Now it's in the air. Now I've got to do this. Now I've got to do that. I kind of marvel, Ken, at his ability. I think one of the things that he does that's elite, that maybe one of the best I've ever seen, if not the best I've ever seen from a goaltender before, is his ability to find the puck in scramble time. Once it gets behind him,
Yep.
it's almost like his brain has a locator for a chip that exists in the puck that we don't know exists, because he finds it when he's lost it. I don't know if he can hear it. I don't know if he can sense it, what's going on, but I just wanted to talk about that and just kind of give him his flowers for that. But the other thing for me, Ken, is as this game went on, and one of the things is a late goal like that, it goes into overtime. You're starting to think, a lot of goalies in that situation, how often do we see it, Ken? A goalie's kind of got the game in order. Boom, all of a sudden it's in the back of the net and the game's going to overtime, and boom, it's in the back of the net again because the goaltender kind of like, falls victim to momentum or has a little bit of a slump or whatever. He doesn't have that, but not only does he not have that, he goes into the shootout, and Ken, the shootout tries by the second and third shooters, Nazem Kadri and Rasmus Andersson, they stink. They stink. Like Anderson's looks like it's like a half, I don't know.
He's trying to go 5-hole, right?
He was trying to go 5-hole, but go back and look at that. And I mean, I know what he's trying to do. And maybe he's thinking, if I act casual and shoot casually, I'll trick the goaltender. It does not work. Part of this for me, Ken, is I feel like Connor Hellebuyck, I could sense it when the players picked up the puck and started heading down on him. It's like they're beat before they start heading down the ice on him. They're like, Connor Hellebuyck, in my mind, had Calgary's shootout shooters mentally beat before they touched the puck at center ice and started skating in towards the goaltender. And I thought a reflection of that is the attempts that they had. They just looked very casual, not very strong to me. I mean, I would definitely be going in over the video and being like, okay, let's not try that again. Let's try something a little bit different next time. Now, maybe I haven't seen enough Calgary tape, and maybe our guy Franchise would be able to tell us that Rasmus Andersson goes down and casually scores on the goaltender all the time, and it's something that works for him. It did not come close to working against Connor Hellebuyck. Connor Hellebuyck didn't look like he was a step, not 2, not 3. Connor Hellebuyck looked like he was 5 steps ahead of the Calgary Flames' second and third shooters in that shootout.
Yeah, I mean, Frost, just as the counter, Frost
was there.
Beat him. I mean, that's a great move.
That's why I made the distinction of the second.
For sure. You're right. I mean, the last 2 shooters were nowhere near. I would just say quickly, and again, I'm not, first of all, yes, great job by Hellebuyck in the shootout and in the game itself. Made himself big, as you mentioned. Cairns thought he had a backdoor tap. First of all, he couldn't believe that the tip didn't go in, and then he thought it was laying there for an empty net, and Hellebuyck went into desperation mode and knocked it down, and then Kadri thought that he had a chance at it and couldn't beat it. So a couple quick things for me, Sean, overall, and one of them is related to the shootout, but I want to go to that second. Calgary did a great job of getting to the net and getting traffic at the net. No better example than the game-tying goal. Adam Klapka, who's about 6'8", I think. I'm not sure exactly. I don't have it in front of me, but Klapka totally screened Hellebuyck. He had no chance. Puck is laying there. Coronado bangs it home. But what were we talking coming out of the Colorado series, Sean? Hellebuyck needs to do a better job of fighting through traffic because they owned the front of the net, right? Colorado owned the front of the net. Boxouts weren't good enough. Couldn't clear the front. Hellebuyck didn't do a good enough job. Last year in the playoffs, way better at it, especially against St. Louis. This year, he's fighting through screens, doing a great job on that front. And here's the other part about Hellebuyck. Hellebuyck wasn't good on breakaways for a number of years, right? I mean, by his own admission, shootouts, I don't think were that great, but he's worked at it. This reminds me of Crosby and McDavid. Like when the best guys in the league have something that they aren't, I mean, again, sometimes they're elite at it, but they want to be super elite. So Hellebuyck has taken 2 things that he wasn't the best at, and the third is puck handling. We spent a lot of last year talking about that. But to me, Hellebuyck is attacking his weaknesses while building on his strengths. And that's why the Jets are in the position that they're in. Eric Comrie's done a great job in coming out of relief, out of the bullpen, getting his wins. But Hellebuyck has been exceptional coming out of the gate. Yes, some people can say, oh, it's too many starts. Dustin Wolf just played his 17th game out of 20, I think, for the Calgary Flames. 17 starts. So Hellebuyck was making his 14th.
Okay, but you're doing that with Dustin Wolf because you're basically suggesting that they can't win without him, right? And not that they're winning a lot.
Well, that's what
you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing what Calgary's doing, where you're just basically saying, let's throw that guy in there because he's the only thing that gives us a hope and a chance on this. Now, you don't want to be doing that.
The Jets are handling it pretty well, but he's still been busy, but he's also not as busy as maybe we're accustomed to seeing. But anyways, Hellebuyck, outstanding. Again.
Okay. I want to bring this.
Two of the pucks that beat him were off Jets players. Yeah,
we're going to continue on this. And I actually like this. Doug Henderson asking the question. Helly is by far the MVP of the Jets for a month. I'm going to set parameters on this one. Well, no, I guess here, you go ahead. Do you agree with this statement, or give me your top three and why he comes out on top?
I do. I think that he's done it at the highest level for the longest time. I mean, we could have said Scheifele for the first 10 or 12 games. Absolutely, yes. But in the last, 10 games, and in the last 8, I don't think it has been Scheifele. Kyle Connor had a very good start. Now, Josh Morrissey, I think Josh Morrissey has jumped into the number 2 spot, Sean, to be quite frank. And again, that's not a knock on Scheifele. Scheifele scored again today, but Morrissey's just been exceptional lately. And to me right now, Hellebuyck, Morrissey, Scheifele would be the top 3 for me. What about you?
I'm actually right with you. I flip-flop though. I've got Josh Morrissey on top. I think tonight's another example of Josh Morrissey is the guy who's driving the bus. When the Jets do win, it's him who's like kind of forcing it to happen. There was a couple times you saw it right at the tail end of the first period where Josh just decided the Winnipeg Jets used to be that team that bottled you up in your defensive zone and you could not get out because they were working as a 5-man unit. What is it? The whole thing about whatever, it's a 5-man fist or whatever. There was just a point with about a minute or a minute 20 left that Josh Morrissey just simply wasn't letting the Calgary Flames get the puck out. And they came close, and Josh stopped it and got it back in and got it to one of the Jets players, and the Jets players lost it, and they went to go get it out again. And Josh Morrissey stopped it again and then put it back in and jumped into the play and created a little bit of havoc. And then one more time, you were about to get it out, and then Josh Morrissey pressured you and gave you nowhere to put it, but throw it kind of towards the middle of the ice where the other defenders stopped in and got it in there. I do think that for the most part, the Jets, they still have things that make them a good defensive team that I think Connor Hellebuyck lives off of. Connor Hellebuyck hasn't had to deal with this year just the same way as he had to in the playoffs with kind of that wide open scoring. I know that there was a backdoor tap-in in the last game, and there's certain things that are not with their goals that we're not used to seeing from the Winnipeg Jets. But for the most part, I don't see the wide open scoring chances that we've seen against the Jets in the last number. That we saw him getting scored on in the playoffs, and that's where he seems to be weakest. So I still think the Winnipeg Jets, even though they're not on top of their defensive game, are still doing a good enough job of playing to Connor Hellebuyck's strengths and taking away the problematic shots for him. Josh Morrissey is just, I can't ignore the hockey IQ. I can't ignore the way he moves the chess pieces around on the board for this Winnipeg Jets team. He was doing it before he started scoring. Now he started scoring to the degree that he's in the conversation behind Cale Makar as the best defenseman in the game. And he's doing it not only defensively, but offensively. I don't know where this Winnipeg Jets team would be without that player.
Yeah, I mean, fair. I mean, I would counter on I don't agree completely, or I don't agree on the defensive side. I mean, Hellebuyck is third in goals saved above expected.
Yeah, I just do not buy that stat. I'm sorry, I don't.
It's okay. I think the Jets have been poor defensively, Sean. I mean, that's a common theme.
I don't think they've been poor defensively. I think their
breakdowns have been bad
last year. Their breakdowns have not been bottom half of the league bad. You're forgetting what bad hockey looks like, Ken. If you think that the Winnipeg Jets,
I didn't say
bad defensively.
Well, compared to what? Sorry,
compared to last year, has their standards.
Well, I agree with your.
I 1,000%. But
well,
what we're seeing from the Winnipeg Jets in all these low-scoring games they have is not. There's some bad defensive hockey played in the NHL. The Winnipeg Jets aren't even close to the bottom half. Not even close. The way they're playing right now. That's my take. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, last year they were much improved, and I agree with you 100% that it wasn't as hard for Hellebuyck. I think it's been way harder for Hellebuyck this year compared to last year, personally, in terms of grade A is allowed. But
yeah, yeah, it's not what I'm seeing. Anyway, that's oh well. Let's give one of us. You folks out there can decide which one of us just got the Pristine Roofing wake up call. We're both too belligerent to understand who got it. We both know it's Can, but no, I'm kidding. Anyways, time to give North End Rick the Pristine Roofing wake up call at 204-981-6289. He's the one you want down at your place, taking a look at all your roofing, siding, and exterior needs. You can also call Pristine Roofing at 204-237-7663. Give your home the Pristine Roofing and Siding wake-up call, folks. You will be glad that you did. Okay, I wanted to get into the blue line pairing. So I just wanted
quickly. I want to tie a bow on Morrissey. Sure. Sorry. He'd be a great choice for MVP also. That's 5 games now with a point. 5 games in a row with a point for Josh. What does that get him to? He's at 2 tonight. That's up to 19 and 17 games. I mean, the level he's playing at is exceptional. There was a point during the overtime where Josh completely took over the game. I mean, he was skating kind of circles around everybody. So to me, he has been, outstanding. Josh has played at an elite level for a long time, but I agree with you completely. I mean, outside of Cale, I think he's, playing at the level of one of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League, and will continue to gain traction when it comes to potential Norris voting here this year. I mean, again, obviously Cale Makar is the clubhouse leader, and that's fair. I mean, he's been in the MVP of the league conversation right now. So, but again, I just think that I want to make sure that people aren't taking Josh Morrissey's play for granted, because he's been absolutely fantastic for a long stretch of time here. And even at the start of the year, when he had 2 assists in 7 games, he was still playing at a pretty high level. What I saw anyways, it just wasn't translating into a bunch of points. So again, it's been impressive to see. And yeah, I mean, Morrissey has been just tremendous, Sean. And I know that he always gets up for games here. I mean, we know this. It's his hometown. He had a great bunch of family and friends in at the game. They had a great family dinner yesterday, Sean. Jake was in. Again, they had a bunch of people in. Adam Lowry was home for dinner, had a great time with his mom and dad. So, yeah, I mean, we knew that those Calgary guys would be up for this game, and they were both very good in it.
Yeah. The thing that I marvel at with Josh Morrissey is the better that he gets, it looks like it's the less that he tries, right? Like, he's one of these effortless guys, right? Like to the point that it's like Mario Lemieux didn't look like he was skating fast because he was effortless at it. And Connor Hellebuyck, we say big and boring. Yep. Sometimes it looks like what he does is easy because he's so good at it. It's Josh Morrissey's got that going on as a defenseman. Like it just does not look like there's a lot of effort coming out of him, or effort necessary to play the kind of game that he plays. And it's a few things. One of them is just that he's so smart. He's always putting himself in the right spot. But 2, he's got that kind of effortless speed. In fact, Ken, I never pointed it out, but what game was that? Was it against the Ducks? There was a player that broke in and scored. No, it was Macklin Celebrini in that game against the San Jose Sharks. And I forgot to bring it up the point and make the point back then. If you want to know how fast and how good Macklin Celebrini is the fact that Josh Morrissey didn't catch him there. Because Josh Morrissey, with that kind of step, almost always catches the guy that he's chasing down. And as impressive as that goal was, as impressive as it was Celebrini making that cut across the crease to make that deke that he does to score that goal in that game, what impressed me more than anything was him having that step on Josh Morrissey and not losing it, because Josh Morrissey eats up that step almost every time, unless your name's Connor McDavid and maybe, if Nick Ehlers is coming to town. But that's the other thing about Josh Morrissey, is when his speed is underrated, and just it's hard to see because it's so effortless from him. Effortless to put up the points the way he is. Morrissey reminds me.
Flame and comfort right here.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. Doug Henderson giving us.
He's having a heck of a game here.
He's on his game. Hey, he got the Pristine Roofing wake-up call. And now, of course, he's going to get the Flame and Comfort hot take of the show award, brought to you by Flame and Comfort, Manitoba's premier supplier of fireplaces, wood stoves, inserts, and everything hearth-related. After 50 years heating up your world, Flame and Comfort has moved. I was there the other day, 1465 St. James Street, where I found it to be one of the most impressive showrooms in Western Canada. I'm confident you will too. You don't need your hot takes to keep that warm feeling inside, folks. You can visit Flame and Comfort. They'll take care of it for you. Yeah, man, he's on fire. Look at him go. Good stuff. Okay, I wanted to get to here. This was another Flame and Comfort, just because it was going to give us a good conversation to talk about. But someone had asked, where do we have it here? It's not statement game. Okay, there we go. Greg Johnson had to get out early, but before he did, he said, what was going on with the blue line pairings? Ken, what did you take away from that?
Well, I think they were looking for some matchups. We know that this is the case when Luke Schenn and Logan Stanley are out together. It's their slowest of the three pairings. So I think you saw Luke get bumped up a couple times. I think with Josh and also with Sandberg. So Luke Schenn also only played 4 shifts in the third period, Sean. So, and just over 11 minutes in the game. So it was more a matter of the Jets were going on almost more of a 5-man rotation. But when he was going out, they tried to get him out with someone other than Stanley after that pairing was on for the, that goal that banked in off the Jake Bean goal that banked in off of Stanley. I don't think it was that they were changing the pairings. I think it was that they were just trying to not have that pairing out a ton together.
It was strange when we saw DeMello out there with Schenn. I'm getting a lot of comments about Schenn lately. A lot of texts. A lot of people are really commenting on his game. A lot of people in fact, it almost seems like there's been an old switcheroo pulled in my DMs, Ken. And what I mean by that is I always used to get Logan Stanley hate mail, and now I'm not getting Logan Stanley hate mail anymore all of a sudden. Now everything's fine, and all those people have forgotten. They've moved on to the next target. That next target seems to be Luke Schenn to me. I will say this. I have a theory on this. I know Luke Schenn hasn't. I think, as we've taken a look at the Winnipeg Jets and said they're a different looking team this year, I've been talking quite a bit about it. He's one of the players that looks quite a bit different. And I think what I would argue is my whole kind of idea about the team speed and the inability for the Winnipeg Jets to tilt the ice the way that they did last year, to cram the game down your throat the way they did last year. What it does is it allows a little bit more freedom for the other teams, and allows them to pick up their speed. It allows them to get into lanes they weren't getting into last year. And so what I do think is the degree of difficulty for the Jets defenders has gone up this year, right? So Ken believes that they've been poor defensively. And I mean, I'm saying there's nowhere near. I'm not mistaking this year's standard for what they did last year, because last year was airtight. But this year, I think the degree of difficulty has gone up for the defenders because the puck is getting back into the Jet zone more often. Teams are able to get through the neutral zone cleaner against the Winnipeg Jets this year. And it's just that takes more time. And the more time you spend defending, the more things are going to be exposed. And so Luke Schenn is the same defenseman he was last year. There hasn't, in my mind, been a huge, massive tail off. He was playing under a system that the degree of difficulty wasn't as high. And not only that, but when the Winnipeg Jets were so on the puck the way they were last year, the next move becomes very much, paint by numbers. When your team is locked in the way the Winnipeg Jets were last year, and it's like, I take this guy, you take this guy, then the puck moves here, then this guy takes that guy, then the puck moves here, this guy takes that guy. It was a lot more paint by numbers. When you are not as tight as that, there's a little bit more room, and those lines start to blur. And once those lines start to blur, you can't think your way into position as fast. That slows you down. And then if your boots are a little bit slower, then you start to be exposed a little bit more. Luke Schenn, hey, he's one of the guys. This is an older team. The wheels aren't there for a lot of these players that they were at the peak of their career. And the looser the Winnipeg Jets play defensively, the more those things are going to be exposed. So, I mean, the solution, if you're the Winnipeg Jets, to trying to get Luke Schenn into a place where he's not looking slower, is to get the team defense into a better spot than it is right now. He's the same guy they had last year, and he was highly effective for the Winnipeg Jets last year under that system that was working that way. The Jets need to get that system back working that way to get Luke Schenn to be as valuable to the team as he was last year.
Yeah, I mean, we know what the numbers are. They were posted by various folks on social. I mean, that's the first goal at 5-on-5. It's first goal 4 that Luke has been on the ice for this year. I think it was 6-0 down going into the game, and yes, he was on the ice for one again. So it's 7-1. That's not a a great number. For a third pairing guy, we understand that for sure. I actually thought Luke was playing a little bit more assertively today prior to the goal against, and he's going to have to elevate his level. But I mean, I see a lot of folks saying that Colin Miller is way better. I mean, Colin Miller neither guy has had a good start to the year. And Sean, one of the other problems and one of the things of the options that I mentioned, and I think that, had to be on the Jets' mind based on how training camp went, Elias Solomonson, by all accounts, has not had a dominant start with the Moose either. So, they're either going to hope that one of those guys plays better, whether it's Schenn or Miller, or they may have to consider moving Hayden Fleury or Logan Stanley to their offside at some point here, on that third pairing as they sort some things out. But I mean, it's something where with Samberg back, the pairings are starting to stabilize, but they're going to need a little bit more out of the third pairing if they want to, to be a contender. I mean, you can't be rolling with 5 D-men. So they need someone from that group to plant the, stick in the ground here.
All right, Ken. I part of my job here on this podcast is when I think that you're riding the fence is for me to throw stones at you, trying to get you wobbly enough that you jump off on one side or the other. I think it's deep enough into this season to have a little bit of a return to a conversation about Jonathan Toews. Crunching some numbers here, he's on pace for 36 points this season. Last year for the Winnipeg Jets, their second line center, Vladislav Nemesnikov, came away with 38 points in 78 games. So right now, Jonathan Toews is on a lower points per game pace than Vladislav Nemesnikov was at second line center last year. I don't think it's anywhere near unfair, especially considering guys like you and I had him pegged for about 55 points, which we are falling well below that pace at this stage. I don't think it is any kind of stretch to say, yes, he's doing great in the face-off circle. Yes, he's bringing that hockey IQ. Yes, he's bringing defensive acumen. But regardless of all of that, for a second-line center, the Winnipeg Jets need more from Jonathan Toews when it comes to the offense department.
Well, I mean, great save by Wolf on one of them. And, I mean, Jonathan was tripped by Wolf on the other one where he looked like he had an open net on the rebound. So, yeah, I mean, the offense has not come maybe as easily as we suspected. Again, he's not playing at that level yet. I do think that he gets there. I think we said this from the very beginning. There were going to be wobbles in the first quarter. I actually think that Toews has handled a good chunk of those things better than maybe some expected. But again, the Jets picked up Jonathan Toews for January, February, March, April, May, potentially for June. Blake Grist can say whatever he wants. Oh, I'm not going to rip Toews. I don't think there's any reason to rip Toews. He's not producing at a 55 plus rate that they'd like to enhance, no doubt. But Jonathan Toews also was 71% in the dot again today. So Vladislav Nemestikov was one of the worst guys in the circle for the Jets last year. So at minimum, he's still on that standard. Now, here's the other part. With Lowry back, Sean, I think that the Jets were asking Toews to be more of a 2A or 2B player, with Lowry handling the other part of that job. We know the responsibilities that he has. So again, I'm not here saying, oh, well, Jonathan Toews is some big disappointment. I don't see it that way. I think he has another level to reach. I think he would say that himself. But I don't think that, I don't think he's playing poorly or showing that he can't do it. I think he needs to be better. I think that's 100% sure. But if Blake wants to say Toews should be out of the league, I think you're not watching. I mean, that's wake up territory for me to you. So
okay, here's a question to have then, because agreeing with you here is T Mackey, who says Toews is here for the playoffs. He needs to be rested on certain nights during the regular season. I don't want to get into the whole load management kind of thing here, but the idea of what we got Jonathan Toews for was the playoffs, right? Okay, fine. I buy into it. One of the best playoff performers of all time. Unbelievable resume, and that potential that exists for sure. But especially if you're a team planning for success in the playoffs, don't you need to see at least some kind of strong resemblance to that kind of game for at least somewhat of a runway to know that you can expect and know that will be there? Because right now what we're doing, and we've had the conversation over and over again, for a player who's been gone for a certain amount of time, you kind of like what you're seeing, and he's slowly returning. In my estimation, he started building towards game 10 of the season, and then he's plateaued and maybe even dipped a little bit from then. And that maybe the speed of the game has gone up since then, and he hasn't followed. Maybe he's going to come and follow at some point, but I guess I would put it like this. If I'm the general manager of this team and I don't see some kind of stretch of hockey out of Jonathan Toews for a certain amount of time during the regular season, that gives me the indication that he can be that guy in the playoffs. How can I go into the trade deadline without going and trying to address that need for a guy that has yet to show you? And this is all right. We're only 20 games in. There's lots of times for him to do this. I guess what I'm saying is I think Jonathan Toews has to show this playoff level guy that everyone is saying this is what he's here for. I think you have to show it before you get into the trade deadline, because if you don't necessarily know that Jonathan Toews is capable of reaching that level again. Because I think one thing is obvious and certain, Ken, right now, we haven't seen Jonathan Toews reach his previous level from before.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, in the game today, he had 3 shots, 6 shot attempts. So I actually thought he was effective offensively. So again, people can say whatever they want, and you can say I'm on the fence, but I think that when Cole Perfetti is up to speed and Jonathan Toews has played 20 plus games with him, I think we're going to see him being a lot more productive. I don't know that he can get to 50 plus points, but I do think he will be able to handle the job and the responsibility. I just do. I mean, he's earned the benefit of the doubt from me. There have been times where he has not played at that pace. That's true. There have also been times where he has looked great and makes the smart play. He puts guys around him in good positions. So again, I don't see him being way behind. I see him being at a level that is what probably was expected of him out of the first 20 games. But yeah, I mean, if the Jets want to win the cup, Jonathan Toews is going to have to increase his offensive production and be on the ice for fewer goals against with his line. I mean, those are facts.
-7 right now.
Those are facts. Yes, a couple of those might have been empty nets, but yes, their line is getting outscored for sure.
Just a question, not so much to you, but to the audience, because there's just so many people who are being like, JT is fine. And if you give me a second here, he's fine, and this is fine, and okay, it's kind of reminding me, and maybe not fairly so, but the cartoon dog in the burning house, everything is fine thing. What is fine? Like, are people fine if Jonathan Toews continues at this pace? Or are people fine if Jonathan Toews ends the year with 30 to 35 points? Like, I guess that's what I'm asking. Because of course a fan is going to take the and I'm not calling you a fan, Ken. I'm saying the people who are talking about this, of course a fan is going to take the optimistic approach. He's fine. This is okay. Everything's fine. The Jets are still in this playoff spot. Everything's fine here. But like the Jets went to replace a second line center who had 38 points last year. So is this what we're saying, chat room? Or are we saying that it's fine if Jonathan Toews continues on at this exact pace, and that if he goes into the playoffs at this pace and you're just fine rolling into the idea that playoffs are going to come, he's going to snap his fingers, and then all of a sudden 2010 Jonathan Toews is going to be cramming it down the opposition's throat? Like, to me, I think there has to be somewhat of a, like, there's faith, and then there's, let's earn some faith. Let's give us reason to be faithful that this is going to go there. Not taking anything away from him in the faceoff circle of his defensive game. I'm just saying it's pretty clear this isn't what a guy whose bonus structure gets him to what he gets paid for. It's not what you would pay someone for. It's not the output that you would expect.
Well, Sean, the guy that Toews is supposed to be replacing is still on that line. So Nemesnikov did that with Nikolai Ehlers, who is essentially a first-line player. And right now, the Jets have not had first-line players playing with Toews. Don't you agree?
I guess, but isn't he supposed to be that driver? I mean, his bonus structure gets him up in the $7 million territory, doesn't it?
If they win the cup. If they win the cup, yes.
Okay, so if they don't win the cup, where does it get him to?
4.5 if he plays all the games.
4.5, and then if
there's
they make
$2 million
the
for playoffs, and then $2 more million if they win the cup.
Right, so $2 million.
So it's 2, 4, 6. Or he can get up to 5, I think. But then, only up to 5 if they win 2 rounds of the playoffs, and 7 if they win the cup. Otherwise, he's a $4 million player, I believe.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I think it's hard. I think it's hard to turn and be like, well, he's the guy they brought in to replace Nikolai Ehlers. You can't say, well, he doesn't have a Nikolai Ehlers. You brought him in to boost that line and replace Nikolai Ehlers. And you can't turn around and say, well, what do you expect the guy to do? He doesn't have Nikolai Ehlers. That's why he's here. He's here to form a new version of Nikolai Ehlers, to take Cole Perfetti to the next level, to grow. That line is supposed to be a worse version of the second line last year because Nikolai Ehlers is gone. It's meant to replace it, augment it, maybe even be better than it. And
but then Nemesnikov wasn't supposed to be on that line either, though, is my point.
Well, okay. So, I mean, now we're splitting hairs. He's the best.
We're not splitting hairs.
Yeah, we are, because then you're bringing in Gustav Nyquist or whoever else. Like, at some point, Ken, it sounds like you are trying to pry any kind of responsibility away from
he needs to be better. I agree.
Now.
No, he's played 4 games with Cole Perfetti is my point. My point is that Perfetti was supposed to go from 50 to 75 points. He can't do that when he's not there, is my point.
Oh, Chuck Ducharme's feelings are hurt. He says, hey, Sean, stop whining. The Jets gave Stanley 3 years of runway, and JT needs time to get back into the swing of things. I'm sorry, Chuck. I didn't mean to go too far down that road. I will say,
Sean,
I still think that
he
needs to score more.
Games.
I got to do a promo here. I still think he needs to score more, and you can score a great rate with Cambrian Credit Union. Getting a mortgage doesn't have to throw you off your game. While you focus on home sweet home, our friends at Team Cambrian Credit Union take care of the mortgage part with their low rates. Whether you're looking for a new home, renewing, or making the switch, Cambrian is your mortgage MVP. They can help make the next season of your mortgage path easier and help save you money. Now that's what we call a win. Head to cambrian.mb.ca/rates for more. Ken, why don't you give Sweet Lou a shout out while we're at it?
Right on. For folks who have realty needs you'd like to have met, contact Lou Ferlin of Rolla Page Dynamic Realty, 204-791-9971, or at the office, 204-989-5000. His email is lou@louferlin.ca. That's LOU@LOUFURLAN.ca. Lou Ferlin, excellent realtor, excellent human being, and excellent supporter of the community, including this podcast.
All right, Ken, what else can I whine about here? I feel like I'm under Chuck's skin, and I just can't help but pry now. I just got to keep going. You know what I can do? I can celebrate getting under Chuck's skin here by making this a Sean's Headband version of the Kenny and Renny Show. Let's make it happen. Wish I had some gum to chew here, Ken, so I could pretend I was chewing on Chuck's last nerve here. That would be good. Hey, you know what? You could get some gum. You could get pretty much anything you need down at Myers Drugs because they've taken care of all your pharmaceutical, health food needs, and they can bring it to you anywhere in the city because they deliver citywide. So you know what to do. Head on down to Myers Drugs or give them a call. Make sure you tell them Kenny and Renny sent you when you do. Okay, Ken. Johnson Group got you covered. Play of the game. You had a good one.
Yeah, you bet. Good back pressure. And again, we've talked about the Jets not doing a good enough job in this area. Nino Niederreiter on the backtrack lifts the stick of Rory Cairns to prevent a glorious scoring chance. To me, it's the exact reason that we started handing out the award. It's something that doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but it's something that every coach and line mate recognizes. That's what gets you a tap on the shin pads when you make your way back to the bench.
I think that's a good one, Ken. I'm going to roll with it. And that is our Johnson Group got you covered play of the game. And hey, do you run a small business in Canada? Look to Canada's #1 employee benefits plan, Chambers Plan, to give you a competitive edge. Chambers Plan is the simple, stable, smart choice for over 30,000 businesses countrywide. Visit chamberplan.ca to learn more. And Ken, that brings us to our hashtag the keg save of the game. What do you got?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm tempted to go something in the.
I'll go first if you want.
You go. Right now I have the shootout, but I think I have a better one that I'm going to.
Well, okay. Here. Well, then.
No, you go ahead. No, you go. I didn't choose it.
It seemed like I'm taking the easy one out, and I was probably stealing it from a fan because someone said it. But the actual stick lift on the first, you talked about it. We talked about how I thought that the second and third shooters for the Calgary Flames were beat before they even touched the puck. Their original shooter was not. He makes a great move. He's got it. Looks like it's a done deal. Then it looks like he flubs the puck. And in the end, it was actually Connor Hellebuyck getting the stick and interrupting the flow there. That's how often do you see goalies do that? Like, I'm beat, but hey, I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to take that puck off your stick. I thought that was brilliant. And I guess it wouldn't have been a game saver because Gabe Vilardi scored, and who knows what would have happened after the fourth shooter or the fifth shooter. Or maybe, the nerves would have got to Gabe Vilardi. Either way, it is a close to game saver by Connor Hellebuyck, and that's my hashtag the keg save of the game. What do you got, Ken?
I'm just going to agree because I'm tired of arguing at 12:27.
Oh, but all the best arguments happen after midnight, Ken. Anyways, that's mine and Ken's hashtag the keg save of the game. It doesn't matter what we think, though. Matters what you think. Share with us your hashtag the keg save of the game. You're automatically entered to win a $50 gift certificate usable at any of the 3 fine keg locations here in the city of Winnipeg. Each location finer than the last. And our winner from our last show, that would be Tyson Ducharme. Tyson, you know what to do. Direct message me at SN Sean Reynolds. Send me your full name. Send me an email. I'll have the fine folks at the keg send you a $50 gift certificate usable at any of the 3 fine keg locations here in the city of Winnipeg. Each location finer than the last. Ken, anything to say as you get ready to wrap up this long road trip?
Well, I only had half of it, but still it was a fun week, a good week, a busy week. Jets should have Morgan Barron available on Tuesday against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I would also expect to see Cole Koepke being an option here. Now, quickly, the fourth line today, I thought they had a strong game. Yes, they were on for the second goal against, but Scott O'Neill had him out there protecting a 1-goal lead in the last 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Parker Ford provided some energy. Tanner Pearson, as I mentioned, first point in 13 games. He's up to 3 goals on the season. And again, they need secondary scoring. That he's the guy on the fourth line, along with Morgan Barron that's been scoring. If Barron and Koepke are activated, as we've mentioned for a couple shows now, that means Brad Lambert and Nikita Chibrikov, who are both averaging just north of 9 minutes per game in average ice time. They need to go back to the Moose and get rolling. But yeah, so come Tuesday, outside of Hayden Fleury, the Jets will have what is almost resembling a full lineup. So they're going to want to start showing some further signs here as they get back and rolling here.
Well, and those are 2 players that can speed up this team. I mean, if I'm learning, and
they
I say this, I said it before, when you played senior hockey for years, you could go from having a really bad team to having a really good team if you added 3 good players, because it meant 3 good players come in, 3 good players go out of the lineup. That really, really swings the balance. And I think what we've seen here is 3 speedy players coming out of the Jets lineup, 4, if you count Kupari and Tanev on the fourth line, has made it so the Jets don't look as fast as they were last year. They definitely haven't done anything to disprove that over the last number of games. That said, Morgan Barron is a speed demon. He's the kind of guy who can get in and, apply the kind of pressure that I've talked about in the past that we haven't seen as much from the Jets this year. Kepke, too, is one of their speedy options. Not that Brad Lambert wasn't, but he doesn't have the grind that those two players have, nor Nikita Chibrikov yet, I do believe. So if you're trying to fix those woes, and if that is the problem for the Winnipeg Jets, those are the kind of players that can come in and help kind of tilt that balance that I was talking about. Should say before I go, this was just another example tonight for me of Dylan Samberg. I'm blown away, Ken, in game 2.
Yeah,
how good he was playing out there. This to me, he is on his way to being an elite defender in the NHL. He's already really, really good, but he's on his way. Like I'm telling you right now, the signs that I'm seeing from him in these 2 games, and yes, small sample size, I don't care. I'm seeing things from him that I haven't seen in the past. I think he's taken his game to another level, and we just haven't got to see it yet. When it fully unfolds, I think we're going to see a version. Last year was a version of Dylan Samberg that I think wowed us, and everyone was kind of blown away with. I think there's going to be an equal jump in his game, and he is just really leveled up. I'm going to put my name on that one bright and early right here. Anything to say before we go, Ken?
Yeah, you'll cash those receipts nicely. He's been excellent so far, no doubt.
You bet. Okay, that's it for us, folks. Thanks so much for sticking with us through all these late nights. We very, very much appreciate it. It always means a lot to us that you stick with us through these late nights like this and these wins and losses. Thank you for doing that. I hope you appreciate the work that's put into this. There's no work. It's pretty easy. It's just, trying not to fall asleep is about the hardest part of it. Other than that, though, if you do appreciate the conversations happening in this space, we would implore you to appreciate the contributions by our sponsors who fight to keep the conversation going in this space. For us, that's Jim Pattison Toyota on Region, Vittorio Rossi, Cambrian Credit Union, Pristine Roofing, Sweet Lou Furlan, Myers Drugs, Flame and Comfort, the Johnson Group, the Kenny and Renny OGs, and of course the Keg. Thank you to them. Thank you to all of you. We will do this at a much more humane time as the Jets get back to Winnipeg for a home game. We'll talk to you then, folks. Bye-bye.